Okay, now let's look at the last efficiency concept, which is dynamic efficiency. What is dynamic efficiency and how do we know firms are dynamically efficient? Well, dynamic efficiency is where firms are technologically progressive. So they're making technological improvements to their production technique in order to reduce the average cost of production and or to meet changing needs and wants of consumers over time. And these technological progression will affect their product quality, variety, and also cost of production over time. And as you can see, in order to achieve technological advancements, one thing that firms have to do is to invest in research and development, right? So they can achieve dynamic efficiency by engaging in research and development. And we know that research and development can be very expensive. So whether firms can ultimately achieve dynamic efficiency depends on two factors, right? Whether they have the incentive to engage in R&D, to innovate, and whether firms have the ability to engage in R&D and innovate. So let's unpack these incentive and ability further. Ability means whether they have the funding, the capability, right, which is afforded by the funding or the profits that the firms have accumulated from the past. So firms which have been able to make, which were able to make long-run supernormal profits consistently would have the ability to engage in R&D. On the other hand, firms which can only make normal profits in the long run and hence have not accumulated any supernormal profits will lack the funding and ability to engage in R&D and product innovation. On the other hand, for incentive to innovate, or we are looking at the motivation of firms to engage in R&D, well, depending on two factors also, which is the presence of close competition, so whether the market is contestable, right? So if the competition is intense or level of competition is high, then the firms have the incentive to product differentiate and innovate, right, to improve the technological aspect so that they differentiate themselves, okay, in order to win the competition game. Another factor is also the degree of knowledge, right? So if the industry is characterized by perfect degree of knowledge, then the firms will lack incentive to innovate because the result of their R&D will be easily shared and adopted by other competitors. So they will not want to invest in R&D, right? So they have no incentive to R&D. Okay, now let's look at whether PC firms can be dynamically efficient. Do they possess the ability to innovate? And also, do they have the incentive to innovate? Okay. All right, so let's look at the ability for PC firms. Because they only make normal profits in the long run, they cannot undertake costly R&D because they lack the funding and hence ability. Okay, and we know that they make non-profits in the long run because of a particular characteristic, which is low barriers to entry or no barriers to entry. Right, as soon as they make supernormal profits in the long run, new firms will enter to the PC industry and erode away the profits level until every single firm in the market is making normal profit. In terms of incentive, PC firms, yes, the competition is very intense because there's so many firms selling homogeneous product. However, it is also characterized by perfect knowledge, meaning any new method of production discovered through R&D will be quickly adopted by competitors, right? So there's no incentive for PC firms to engage in R&D, and hence, as a result, PC firms lack both ability and incentive to be dynamically efficient, right? So they cannot attain dynamic efficiency in general for PC firms.